The Warriors are no more this season. What now for the Warriors? And we can get into a bunch of other stuff, but I kind of think we're all burying the lead. Klay Thompson, what do you pay him? He's still under contract. You don't have to pay him another cent, and he just plays, and then you figure it out. Jordan Poole, yeah, you probably want to trade him. You know, you got to figure out how to get better pieces around. You have to evolve as a team. All these things are interesting. But the number one thing is, like, what do you do with Draymond Green? This is the question. What do you do? And you have to at least factor in the fact that he single-handedly torpedoed this season. Let me repeat that. Draymond Green single-handedly torpedoed this season. And I will fully admit that they don't win a championship, any of the championships, without Draymond. They were better this year with him on the court than they were without him on the court. I mean, it was not discussed on TV. They completely whiffed on TV. Completely whiffed. He got into foul trouble, right? Remember, Dennis Schroeder got his second technical foul. And you know what? I feel no sympathy for Dennis Schroeder getting the second technical foul. He is the worst flopper in the league. Hey, it's embarrassing what he does. And so him being ejected for not doing anything wrong, you know what? That's payback for all those other flops you got away with and you got calls. So don't care about Dennis Schroeder. What I do care about is the fact that it wasn't even mentioned. Draymond Green's off the court. They couldn't play without him. They couldn't guard Anthony Davis at all. The offense was totally stagnant because you had guys that couldn't. You have a Kevon Looney's just a statue in there that all he can do is rebound and dunk. But Draymond Green destroyed this season before it ever started. There is no possible way that you can, and it's like the old, you can't tell the story of the NBA you can't tell the story of this season without pointing out that Draymond Green cold-cocked Jordan Poole in the face when he wasn't expecting it. And it set us on this really weird path. I don't know if Jordan Poole would have played better had he not been punched in the face by his own teammate, but I'm guessing it wouldn't have been worse. Correct? It made us look at Draymond differently, the relationship differently, the team differently, and the whole vibe of the Warriors was just off. It was just off. You created an impossible situation. And I understand, I fully understand what is now coming out and what appears to be at least part of his logic behind why he acted that way. Dude was feeling himself, right? He scored a bunch of points when they played games that didn't matter. And then he created this role where he could just come in and score and play a little bit of defense and get a big contract. Right? He's a young guy. He's feeling himself. He's running his mouth, and I'm going to lay down the law. Fine. Okay? But the way in which he did it, the fact that it was on camera, the fact that it was leaked, and you can point out like, well, it shouldn't have been leaked video. You know what? He shouldn't have punched his teammate in the face. So what has to happen? I don't know how you keep him. Draymond Green, not Jordan Poole. Like, Draymond's like, hey, we could still, like, what do you mean we? Dude, you just single-handedly destroyed our chances at a back-to-back season. There has to be some sort of punishment for that. And I don't think any of us would argue that despite the fact he was a tremendous asset, he's not what he used to be. Then you combine the fact that he went from being America's, like a WWE character to then being best buds with everybody in the Lakers. The whole thing was weird. So where do we go from here? Here's Steve Kerr.
To the near side wall. The clock runs out. Knights win.
That's not Steve Kerr. But it was a good.
To be fair, this team probably, ultimately maxed out That's probably where we should be. This is not a championship team. If we were, we'd be moving on.
And look, there's some similarities here between the 80s Celtics and what happened to them in the 90s. Remember, the 80s Celtics, they went out, they drafted Len Bias. He was supposed to be the next wave. Of course, tragically, he died after using cocaine like 2 days after the draft, right? And then, if you remember, the Celtics got Reggie Lewis, who was like an underrated star. He died as well from a heart issue. Again, this is several years later. But if, again, in your mind, you had the injuries to Larry Bird, had that not happened, or had Len Bias lived up anywhere near to the billing, and then you added Reggie Lewis, like the Celtics keep on continuing on. The Magic Johnson Lakers, right? That team had aged, but they had replenished their roster. They had a burgeoning star in Vlade Divac. And this is before they acquired Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. They got to the NBA Finals without Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Mike Dunleavy was the coach. But then shortly thereafter, Magic Johnson contracted HIV and he had to retire. There actually is a precedence for making bad decisions or having something tragic happen your way that ends a run. And by my estimation, you have all of it with the Golden State Warriors. The Wiseman pick was supposed to be like, how can you stop Anthony Davis? Well, they drafted a guy to be a versatile 2020 and beyond big guy. Versatile, athletic, could shoot a little bit, can block shots, could guard ball screens. He just hasn't been good enough, and he had an injury, and it set him back, and they traded him. And then it's obvious they don't think Jonathan Kuminga's any good either. Otherwise, they would have given him a shot. So they pick some guys that haven't lived up to their billing, that haven't been able to supplement their older guys. Their older guys have gone through injuries. Steph, multiple injuries. Obviously, we know about Clay's injuries. And then you have one of your stars literally take out one of your young stars and kill his confidence and create a rift within the team. That's an impossible situation because there's only two ways you can go. You're either Team Draymond or you're Team Jordan Poole. There's no like Switzerland. Hey, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. No, dude. What'd you think? Are you cool with that or not cool with that? Hey, Steph Curry couldn't guard anybody. He was absolutely worn down. Didn't make shots. Klay Thompson's probably more to blame because, dude, he gave you nothing in Game 6 when he's supposed to be Game 6 Klay. Even he knows it, and he's a shell of the player he used to be because of all those injuries. That happens. Jordan Poole, not nearly what he was last year. The young guys didn't pull up the slack, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Steve Kerr probably could have coached better. But the whole thing was a mess because Draymond Green cold-cocked Jordan Poole in the preseason. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And if you single-handedly torpedo your team's season, how do I bring you back and re-sign you? Yeah, damn.
Did you hear what Jordan Poole said after they lost in Game 6?
He said a couple things, but tell me.
Yeah, here's the audio.
At the wall.
Oh, wait, sorry, that's not
it's
it.
a grand slam.
No, that's not it.
Anthony Tatum.
No, here,
right corner against
that's not
Embiid.
it.
I experimented with marijuana.
That's not it. Nope, that's. Let me wait. No, never mind. Here it is. No, I don't have it. Sorry, my bad.
Coming up on the GOTTLIEB Show, live from the TireRack.com studios.